Welcome back. I'm trying to let you know a little something, some new info that you might be interested in. HBO seems to be restructuring its boxing plans. In case you probably didn't know, HBO is, for the past 2 years, had to go through some dramatic changes because they're losing millions and millions of dollars on Boxing After Dark and World Championship Boxing. In case you didn't know, back in 2008, they had 8 pay-per-view shows. 8. And they didn't pan out well. In case you were wondering why they went and begged Floyd Mayweather to come back. It's because they lost their shirt in 2008. 8 pay-per-views. And I think maybe 1 or maybe 2 made money. So they had to restructure the plan and come up with something different. Because the main problem that they're having is that they're dictating who the money is and how much money should go to the fight. And it's HBO alone. They decide the value of the fights and the fighters. And they're way off budget. Like Dawson Tarver 2, they thought it was worth $3.2 million. And the fight was pretty much worth $2 million. And if you look at the ratings and the ticket sales, those numbers were ridiculous. The public should create the value only. But this is a whole structure that's going to affect the entire HBO staff because the whole company is over budget right now. They're overstaffed and they're overspent, and the license fees are still excessive for some of the fights that they have now. They can cut production costs to probably like 25%, and then the audience, they wouldn't even know it. But those are people's jobs that are going to be gone because they're wasting money on fights that they don't want. And Showtime is beating them to the punch once again. The super middleweight tournament was the last slap in the face to HBO because they're wondering why they don't have it. Now, they're supposed to be behind closed door secret, but they're working on a 140-pound tournament on HBO because they feel like this is something that they should have been on, and they should have been the first ones on it. But they're paying all these licensing fees. Like they're paying $10 million in licensing fees for like Oscar De La Hoya fights on Boxing After Dark, and they always start off good, and then they start fizzling out because they're all about ratings. Now, why would Brian Nelson, who's the CEO of HBO, pay $10 million for a 4.0 rating? And that's without Oscar De La Hoya. His fight with Steve Forbes was 4.0. That was the highest Boxing After Dark. No, that was our World Championship Boxing rating that they had, and I don't even know how long. But that's the highest he's going to get. Boxing After Dark might not even come back next year. They started off the year good with Collazo and Berto, and they just started having bad luck after bad luck after bad luck. And I feel bad for them. The Paulie Malignaggi fight was good, but it's not worth it. They're having so many ridiculous cards. And just down the road, it was just not worth it to even have it. And then for a 1.1 rating and a 2.0 rating, there's guys who would take that $10 million that HBO is putting up for the licensing fee and promising HBO an 8.0 rating. And that's where HBO makes their money. Now I'm going to give you some more advice that you probably didn't know. This is how HBO pretty much gets paid for like their pay-per-views. They get paid 10% off of every pay-per-view. After the first 4 million sales, they get 10%. After that, then the promoters, the networks, whoever running it, they get their money. Then, after that happens, they get 7.5% of the rest of the money. After those people are paid off, pay-per-view and everybody else. Now, Pay-per-view was mostly ran by In Demand. In Demand is owned by Cox Communications, Comcast, and Time Warner. And we all know Time Warner owns HBO. So they get their money like 2-3 ways. So it all comes back to HBO. So that's how HBO gets their money, off the pay-per-view. That's why this year you saw they reduced their pay-per-views down to 3. I told somebody they were going to do this early on to try to save money, but they still got to cut costs, and it is dangerously approaching boxing shows being eliminated and fights are not being licensed, but it's going to make for better fights on HBO. You're not going to see a guy coming in there getting blasted in one round just to try to promote some guy. Like, we won't see no more Jamal McClines and Ariolas. We'll actually have some real fights, and they're focusing on making 12 good fights to start the year out. With that said, I don't want to make this video too long. I'll hit you with another one soon. Peace.